And that's exactly what we're talking about in the discretionary side. It's about $700 billion out of a $3 trillion budget. If you want to control federal spending, you must look at Social Security and Medicare. And it's a dicey game. I know the president tried. I give him credit for at least getting out there, touching that third rail, getting burned by it. He did. Jump back immediately. But the reality is this. If you don't do it, forget about all this talk about reducing federal spending. It's not going to happen. You better address Social Security. You better come up with a way to allow for private Social Security accounts, structurally structurally fix both of those things, or forget the idea of ending deficit spending.
Mayor Giuliani and Governor Romney, these are 30-second answers. You've been having a tit-for-tat on tax cutting. What's the difference between the two of you? Your Honor, first.
I cut taxes 23 times when I was mayor of New York City. I believe in tax cuts. I believe in being a supply-sider. I cut the income tax, I think it was 24%. We got 42% more revenues. I see in the Wall Street Journal this morning an editorial that says, can we take the good news that the tax cuts have actually worked to produce about $500 billion in additional revenue no one ever thought was possible. So it's something that I believe in from results. I cut taxes by over $9 billion. I didn't cut every tax. You can't possibly cut every tax, as I think Congressman Tancredo pointed out. You need money for police. You need money for military. But I cut, I think, as many taxes as you possibly could in that period of time. And George Will said I ran the most conservative government from that point of view in the last 40 or 50 years in the entire country.
Let's go to Governor Romney. Your difference with Mayor Giuliani on tax cutting.
Well, we both agree with the need to cut taxes and have fought to do so, and I did so in my state, too. We both believe in cutting back on spending as well. But if you want to cut taxes, you're going to have to cut spending. And the best tool that a governor has and the best tool the president has had is a line on a veto. And Mayor Giuliani took the line on a veto that the president had all the way to the Supreme Court and took it away from the president of the United States. I think that was a mistake. He also fought to keep the commuter tax, which was a very substantial tax, a almost $400 million tax on commuters coming into New York. And when it's all said and done, if you're a New York taxpayer, city taxpayer, your state and city tax combined can reach as high as 10%. And in our state, if you're a Boston worker, it's going to be more like 5.3%. So we both worked real hard to get the taxes down, to get the spending down, but I'm in favor of the line on a veto. I exercised it 844 times. Thank heavens we have the line on a veto, and I'd like to see it at the federal government level as well. We need it.
Mayor Giuliani, respond.
I mean, the difference is that under Governor Romney, spending went up in Massachusetts per capita by 8%. Under me, spending went down by 7%. The line item veto was unconstitutional. I took Bill Clinton to the Supreme Court and beat Bill Clinton. It's unconstitutional. What the heck can you do about that if you're a strict constructionist? And finally, the point is that you've got to control taxes, but I did it. He didn't. I controlled taxes.
Sorry.
I brought taxes down by 17%. Under him, taxes went up 11% per capita. I led. He lagged.
Sir, rebuttal here, final rebuttal.
It's a nice line, but it's baloney. Mayor, you got to check your facts. No taxes. I did not increase taxes in Massachusetts. I lowered taxes, number one. Number two, the Club for Growth looked at our respective spending record. They said my spending grew 2.2% a year. Yours grew 2.8% a year. But look, we're both guys that are in favor of keeping spending down and keeping taxes down. We're not far apart on that. The place we differ is on the line item veto. I'm in favor of the line item veto. I had it, used it 844 times. I want to see Libby Dole's line item veto put in place. The president's proposal to have it put in place. I'm in favor of the line item veto. I'd have never gone to the Supreme Court and said it's unconstitutional.
Do you believe it is?
I do not believe that line item veto is properly structured. The president this last year introduced a line item veto that passes constitutional muster. Elizabeth Dole did the same thing. I'm in favor of the line item veto to make sure that the president is able to help cut out pork and waste. Washington is finally going to have a reduction in spending. Republicans got spending out of control.
John,
you have to be honest with people. And you can't fool all the people all the time. The line item veto is unconstitutional. You don't get to believe about it. The Supreme Court has ruled on it. So you can bang your head up against a stone wall all you want. I am in favor of a line item veto, except you have to do it legally. And as the mayor of New York, If I had let President Clinton take $250 million away from the people of my city illegally and unconstitutionally, I wouldn't have been much of a mayor.
That's what it's about. That's what it was about.
So I took President Clinton to court, and I beat him. And I don't think it's a bad idea to have a Republican presidential candidate who actually has beat President Clinton at something.
So where do you stand?
That's what it's about.
Okay, we got to go to John Harwood. Thank you. John.
As good as that fight is, I've got a question for Senator Thompson.
New York are low-tax, low-spending states.
Senator.
Depends which account you rely on.
Senator Thompson, in the kind of dynamic economy that you mentioned, lots of new jobs are created, but a lot of jobs are lost as well. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says 3/4 of manufacturing workers who lose their jobs and get new ones see their incomes go down. How would you explain to those people that their shrinking American dream is the price of progress, and what would you do to help them?
Well, in a dynamic economy, there are jobs lost and there are jobs gained. And so far, there have been more jobs gained. And to put up barriers and say that so-and-so cannot lose a job would be the wrong thing to do in a free market economy. It's been so well for us. It's made us the most prosperous nation in the history of the world. But there's some things that you can recognize about the manufacturing industry and how important it is to us, and how we can do something for the industry to help them hire more people and keep the wheels rolling. Government policies in terms of taxing and spending and regulation. The manufacturing industry is in large part an